How to challenge five sensories in a healthy way as a sixth sensory. Why do five sensories need challenges in their relationships? Well, if they don't receive any challenge, what happens is they'll start gravitating towards drama. So five sensories tend to gravitate towards drama naturally without them even realizing it because they're looking for some kind of excitement in their life. They're looking for some kind of intrigue or mystery. How do you create that? But you get rid of the drama. That's a very, very important thing to know. So as a sixth sensory, you can do that by engaging in some kind of new hobby. You try a new activity, you learn a new language, you travel to a new place, you study a new degree, you meet new people, you go and play new sports, you go for a walk in a beautiful place, you take a drive somewhere. If you're constantly learning and growing, and it can even be something very simple, like maybe you learn a craft or something like that, then you're constantly feeding their need for uncertainty, but you're doing it in a healthy way, so they're not gonna feel the urge to start drama. As long as you keep things fresh, that's how you create uncertainty for them. And five sensories love the early phases of dating because of all the uncertainty in it and not knowing if they have this person or not. Having said that, even if you marry or you get into a long-term committed relationship with a five sensory, keeping things fresh by growing and trying different things is like a very key skill in life that will preserve your relationship. As long as you keep growing and trying new things as often as you can. And let's say you are married and you have children and you're like, I don't have any time or space outside of my child to grow. Like even if you work, go do something different in your job and let your job be the thing that helps you challenge and grow yourself. And that will keep it interesting. But if you have time to try hobbies, go try hobbies, do different things. These things are really, really critical and will keep you from getting into negative situations in your relationship. It's not 100% guarantee, but it's going to keep you out of the neighborhood of trouble most of the time in your relationships with five sensories. If things get too boring for them, that's when they're most likely to stir up trouble or stir up a breakup for like no reason. It's because they're bored and they don't have anything more productive and better to do. And if five sensories are busy themselves, challenging themselves to grow, that's even better. It's a great pairing, it's a great match. Let them enjoy their practical pursuits and their ways of growing, and you can be a really good power couple long term. My next step to be challenging in a healthy way as a sixth sensory to a five sensory is to have a bit of personality, a bit of character, and don't be afraid to be a little bit different from the five sensory and be true to who you are. So there may be times, let's say politics come up in the conversation. You'd rather just be quiet and not talk about it because it stirs up trouble, and that's valid. Sometimes the best response is silence. Having said that, if you have no character, no personality at all, and you never say anything in your relationship, this could also be a problem too. There are times when you need to speak up, and there are times when you need to have a bit of character and personality and spice things up in the relationship. If you're quiet all the time, then things can get a little boring for the five sensory too. But quiet can be a superpower, especially when dramatic topics are coming up. Definitely consider it a superpower. If you don't know what to say, say nothing. That is a good superpower. But if you feel the space to say something and show a bit of your character and break away from necessarily agreeing with the five sensory, maybe the five sensory supports one baseball team and you support the other baseball team. It's like the Blue Jays versus the Red Sox, and you break away your opinion from that five sensory. That can actually be attractive to a five sensory. They see that you speak your mind and you're willing to share your opinions, and that can be a really good thing. But it has to be done kind of correctly in the right moment. You don't want to do this to start a fight, like a serious fight or a serious drama, but maybe when you're talking about sports, that can be a fun, playful area where you can agree to disagree and have a little bit of fun and enjoyment in your relationship. And then the next piece that I would advise in order to be a challenge for a five sensory as a sixth sensory is that you can't be afraid to stand up for yourself. So sometimes, like I said, five sensories get bored, it's not fun, but sometimes they will pick on you for whatever reason. Maybe it's because you have like a specific diet, Or maybe it's because you live in a different place than they do and they don't approve of where you live. Or maybe it's because you have certain hobbies that they don't agree with, right? It's okay to have differences and have things going on in your life that the five sensory doesn't agree with. But it's important in those moments, if they come at you and they pick on you, that you find kind of a playful, humorous way to stand up for yourself. Do it in a silly, lighthearted way. Don't do it in a very serious, how dare you say that about me? That's probably not gonna go over well. And being quiet sometimes, if you're not sure what to say, can help you. But having said that, if they're getting really nasty, you have to start playfully standing up for yourself. Find something to make fun of in them and their lifestyle. If they're picking on your city, pick on their city a little bit. Or if they live in the country, pick on them being a hick. Or, just find something silly to say, not anything too mean, not anything too insulting, but then come up with a silly little comeback, and then they will respect you more. And if you're being playful and lighthearted, they will find that very attractive. And if you're not sure what to say, talk about it in private with a friend and practice until you kind of get the tone right on what to say. And sometimes in the moment, people say these things. I've been guilty of this. Sometimes people are kind of saying things and making fun of me, but I'm off in my own world thinking about something else. So I didn't even notice. I was just I was thinking about this and this and that, trying to build my business or whatever, and zoning off in the conversation or having a nap. I can be napping sometimes when five sensories are having a talk about something. And then they're actually being kind of mean. And then I'm I'm kind of waking up, tuning in, going, oh, actually, that wasn't so good. Store it in your mind, and if it comes up again, then do the playful comeback later. If you don't know what to say, or you're kind of late tuning into the conversation and you're quiet, it's okay, as long as you don't react and get upset. That's the worst response, is when you react and get upset or say something really, really nasty to them. Second best is being quiet. If you don't know what to say yet, just be quiet. Then if you've practiced a playful comeback, be ready with that playful comeback and say it back to them. Study them, and if they have something silly or bad to say about you, come up with something silly or bad to say back to them. Then they will actually respect you more because you can play with them, you can banter with them. It's a tricky skill to kind of get the hang of and get used to and get the tone just right. But lots of people do this, in their friendships, and it brings them closer together, ironically. It's some people, that's how they build their relationships, is they are constantly making fun of each other. If you observe certain cultures, you will see that, and it may be very unfamiliar to you as a sixth sensory. But the good news is you can learn how to do it, and you can get better at it, and then the five sensories will really enjoy that aspect of the relationship.